Welcome to Unscripted with Marilyn Morales. Today I have a very special guest. This is an episode that you will never forget. Well, we are in March, and as I've been sharing, March is when my daughter Isabella would have been 16. So 16 years old for a daughter and a mother is usually a time when we're celebrating and planning sweet 16s and planning all sorts of things. And just because my daughter isn't here with me now doesn't mean that I'm not going to celebrate her life. So I decided that I'm making this year the year of Isabella. So there's going to be a lot of things happening this year. And some of the special guests that I am bringing on are going to share similar stories and will bring forth more of Isabella's story. So today, my guest is a Mr. Lee Grigsby. Let me tell you a little bit about him. He shares with us, my coaching journey began while searching for a way to make an impact on this world and leave it better than I found it. I love that, Lee. As I've lived through many experiences, spiritual, physical, mental, and emotional, I've become more aware of how my actions and choices are connected. By understanding my story, having the courage to accept it for what it is, and learning how to make choices that better serve me, I'm continually motivated to commit to the relentless pursuit for greatness. I've learned to navigate life and recover from the physical, emotional, and mental injuries by using new tools that I did not have when I was younger. Inspired by the number 44, and I need to know what that 44 is about, becoming a health and life coach has allowed me to serve many people by empowering them to break through their fears and lead healthier lives. Despite the constructs that can be roadblocks, there is a path to inevitable success. Understanding those roadblocks is where I truly help people break through. From the lifestyle choices that affect your physical and mental health to communication blocks that seem almost impossible to overcome. Everything you've done up to this point in your life has been to survive. Now it's time to learn the tools to thrive. Let's welcome to the show, Lee Grigsby. Hello.
Hey, Marilyn, who were you talking about? Was that me? That was.
My God, what a bio. What a bio.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate
Li-
that. Really.
And listen, first I want to hear
Sure.
what's the 44? Why are you inspired by the number 44?
Sure. Well, um, I don't believe in coincidence, first of all. And so I started this coaching journey when I was 44. I will be 48 in a few days. So at 44, when I started this, the 44th president of the United States was Barack Obama. And yes, this is not a political statement, folks. The reason that I'm inspired by him was be the change you want to see. So at that point, it made me feel like I've lived enough that I can give back. How do I do that?
Right.
I don't want to be the person pointing the finger saying, well, you need to do this, you need to do that. Point the finger in and say, okay, how can I be better? And then lead by example. So that's where the inspiration of 44 comes from. It just so happened that that's when I kind of started the official journey.
Got it. Got it. Love it. Love it. And as you
Yeah.
say, I don't believe in coincidences either.
Mm-mm.
You and I shared a moment recently, about a week ago, right? So we were
100%.
both in San Antonio, Texas. We were part of a Mike Story competition with Jesse and Desiree Cruz.
And you
I
killed
had,
it, by the way. You
oh,
crushed it.
thank you. Thank you.
You
Thank
crushed
you.
it.
So did you.
Thank you.
There were a lot of stories, right? There were a lot of stories that we heard that weekend and so impactful. I think I was touched by every single person in the room.
I
Every
agree.
person in the room.
Hmm.
There was something that I took away from everybody's talk.
Yep.
But that particular day, I had decided to change my speech around. What I originally was going to say, I decided to do something different. And as I was preparing for it in the back of the room, I
Mhm.
obviously was going to talk about, because the subject was supposed to be how we're going to change the world, right? So we were
Correct.
asked to speak on that. And I knew that I was going to talk about my daughter Isabella,
Hmm.
his legacy, getting donors to join the National Marrow Registry, but I was trying
Hmm.
to figure out the best way to present it. And I
Mm.
knew that sharing percentages would be impactful, letting people know who can get those matches and who can't.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
looking at the room. I'm right.
Hmm.
I'm looking at the room and I'm trying to pick who best would represent a particular demographic. And I got to the
Oh,
African American piece and I'm looking at the room and I'm like, there's one black man in this room.
there was one. There was one.
And I think he represents very well. And I'm going to pick him. And this is right before I walk onto the stage.
Wow. See, that's not coincidence at
That's
all. It's not coincidence. Yeah.
that's not it. Yeah, because I'm feeling and I'm waiting for that feeling. And as soon as my eyes laid on you, I was like, that's him. That's the one. Right.
Mhm.
Now share with my viewers what happened next.
Well, the reason that it's not coincidence is what you started talking about the donor list, the national registry list. You did not know at all that I have personal experience with that. You did not
Right.
know what I went through with my sister. You had no clue. We had not shared that with each other.
Right.
But that's what was impactful about it because well, you can't really see the bracelet, but you see this green bracelet here.
Right.
It's says donate life. I've had this bracelet since about 2005. Well, several copies of it because the silicone does break. So
We got to get more. We got to get more.
yeah. Oh, I have ordered like a bag full.
Okay, good.
Um, but yeah, it was really impactful because you laid it out beautifully for the different communities and the percentages of, shall we say, successful matches for different types of donor of organ donation or bone marrow, whatever the list requires. So you went with the white population. I believe it was 71%, somewhere maybe higher,
79%.
79%, 79
Mhm.
percent. Then you went with the
Hispanic.
Latino, yeah, Hispanic community, and that was in the 30s.
It was
If I'm
actually
not mistaken,
48%. 48%.
48%. So the lowest one
Lowest.
was for the black community, and that was, I think, 28% or 25%, somewhere.
29%. Right now it's 29%. So look at the
So
disparity. 79% to
yeah,
29%.
yep, that's a huge difference. And so the personal part of this story, and I'll come at this from several different angles, Marilyn.
Okay.
So
And
historically,
and before we
oh,
start, I just
oh,
want to,
sure,
if
sure,
this is the first time people are coming on, they're like, what registry are you guys talking about? Right. So
right, right,
there is a national bone marrow slash stem cell registry. So people
hmm,
that suffer from blood cancers and disorders, not just
hmm,
cancer, right? There are things like sickle cell anemia, which is prevalent,
hmm,
right, for
and
Hispanics and Blacks
yeah,
as well.
absolutely,
It is
yep,
actually the cure for it. It can actually take it away completely. So
hmm,
patients that are suffering from cancers and disorders and they need a transplant, they need someone else, right, to
hmm.
give them this life-saving gift
This
because
healthy cells,
healthy marrow, correct, healthy
Yes.
cells, healthy marrow, so that they can
Hmm.
start producing healthy ones in their own body, right? And then there's a low likelihood that you'll find a match within your family. Your best chance at a match is someone within your family or within your ethnic background. And if you can't
Absolutely.
find somebody in the family, then you have to search in this outside registry for
Hmm.
someone to save your life. Just to put that in context. And this is what we're
Yes.
talking about.
And so my experience with this goes all the way back. Like I said, I've been having this bracelet since about 2005.
Right.
The donor registry list that I was part of was for kidney. Okay, not the bone marrow registry, but my sister was had suffered diabetes, and as we know now, that's a lifestyle disease. right? When
Right.
she was first diagnosed, she was 19 years old. There was no type 1, type 2. It was just diabetes. And so, like many other uh, illnesses, many other diseases, if it's not visible on the outside,
Right.
people don't know what's going on the inside. Okay. So, my sister would feel fine, would feel, and I'm using air quotes here, normal, right? But didn't take her insulin on a regular basis. And so over time, the body begins to break down when the blood sugars run extremely high. Uh, Long story short, as the body starts to shut down, her kidneys started to fail. Okay.
Right.
We were looking for a match because I got tested and I was not a good match for her. So at the time, this was groundbreaking, new experimental procedure, the donor matching program, where the recipient would bring a donor and match up with another pair. That recipient could use the cross donor and so on. Does that
Okay.
make sense? I don't know if I'm explaining that correctly, but it was a pair because um, they weren't good matches directly. So
Gotcha.
then you would donate to the other recipient, and their donor would donate to your recipient. Okay,
Okay. It's almost like a
so
switch.
absolutely, yep.
You're switching. Okay.
And so originally I'm from Ohio, and we this program, because it was so new back in 2004, 2005, they tried to pair us up with people all over the state of Ohio, all over the state of Indiana,
Mm-hmm.
and I believe they went all the way over into the state of Illinois. So in a three-state area in the Midwest, we did not get a match.
Mm.
Now, does that mean there was not a match? No, that doesn't mean that. What we're talking about today means that there was no one that was on the registry list.
Right.
That's the important part to come away
That's
with.
right. That's right. It's the registry that's
Mhm.
important because and there could be potential matches out there, just like with the, bone
Yeah,
marrow registry.
absolutely.
Matches are out
Absolutely.
there. It's just a matter of getting them to sign up to say, yes, I'll be a part of this.
Hmm. And so I really want to touch on, I want to go back in our historical reference here. There is definitely distrust from the black community with the medical profession. Okay.
Mhm.
Rightfully so, but let's put it in context. If any of your listeners or viewers are unaware, there was the Tuskegee experiment,
Right.
not to be confused with the Tuskegee Airmen, who were part of the Air Force, okay, and changed the tide of the war. But the Tuskegee experiment, the United States, uh, the CDC, and the government tested, I don't know, some 400, roughly 400 black men starting in 1932 all the way up until 1937. They were told, oh, you get a free meal, you can different things to entice them to get this shot.
Right.
What it was is they were testing and gave them syphilis to do a longitudinal study to see how it affected them.
Oh my God.
So that's the context from the historical mistrust. Okay.
And just one, I just have to mention that if we do our
Sure.
research, there are other examples.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's not the only one. That is
Right.
correct. That's just I wanted to give
The
some
best known
context.
one. That's right.
Right. Right. Because stereotypically men and black men do
Yes.
not go to until it's too late, right? They
Right.
don't get regular checkups. So it is there's a historical context with the mistrust. I can share with you a personal story that I have with the mistrust. I was about and I'm not sure how it shows up on camera, but if you see my face is pretty red right now. I have psoriasis, and it's not plaque psoriasis. It's called guttate psoriasis. Same type of autoimmune disorder, but just shows up differently. So back when I was about 14, 15, I was trying to, going to different doctors, dermatologists, trying to get it, sorted out. What is going on?
Right.
Well, the doctor was like, "Oh yeah, this looks like secondary syphilis."
What?
How, how's that when uh, this is an adult show? But yeah, at that age, couldn't have been secondary syphilis for me.
Right.
So,
It's the first time you met this doctor?
yeah. So it's like
What?
that would already breed mistrust because you looked at me once and said, "Yeah, this is what it is." What are you talking about? So that's like a personal story for
So
me.
how was that handled though? Can you go into how that
Oh,
got
sure.
handled?
Well, my mother said, "What the hell are you talking about?"
Mm.
And we're getting another doctor because you need to change your bedside manner. And yeah, she kind of laid him out.
Okay, okay.
But we did get like two other opinions, and I will say by the end of that conversation, he was apologizing to me and my mom.
I would think so. Mama Bear knows knows
Absolutely.
best.
Again, if I was 18, 19, okay, I would have been like, all right, doc, you got me, right? But
Yeah. Okay,
but
let's
no,
do the test.
right. But at 14, 15, I was pretty sure that that was not secondary syphilis.
Absolutely. Right, right.
So that was definitely a moment where I'd never forgot it either. That people see you and look at you and assume something from their own reference, right? So
Right.
that's part of that. Um, but so yes, that's like the historical context. But I really want to like dive deeply into my family history because I think this is important. How many families, Marilyn, do you know? Yours might do the same thing, not your immediate family,
Right.
but how many families do you know that there's these illnesses and diseases that are in the family, but no one talks about it, right?
Yeah.
No, everybody just says, "Oh, well, yeah, that's just that way," right?
It runs in our
But
family,
eh,
I have several within my family. Cancer being number one.
mhm,
Cancer being number one. There's so much cancer in my family. And
and no
now,
one wants to talk about
no,
it
they don't
though.
want to talk about
So,
it.
and that's the important part. You have to talk about it. So, I also lost a brother to kidney failure, but the difference between the two,
Hmm.
and this is important to understand, my sister's was due to diabetes and how that breaks the body down. While my brother's body started to break down, that was from drug use, you know? And so, yes, if you just on the surface say, yeah, I had a brother and a sister die of kidney failure, then you start thinking, oh, wow, there's something running in the family, right?
Right.
But I want people to understand it's okay to be honest about what's going on in your family. Just
Right.
because he had been a drug user, okay, don't judge him for it. But that is what helped cause his body to break down and
Right.
die too early, you know?
And not everybody
Unfortunately,
that does drug use suffers the same fate either, right? They don't
correct,
have
correct.
kidney disease because of it. They may pass from something else. Everybody's body reacts differently.
Correct. But that's why you have to speak honestly about these things, right? And
Right.
so now going into medical history, um, me and my sister, we shared the mother, but we did not have the same father. And so it is highly possible that diabetes ran in her father's side of the family. We don't know.
Okay.
Um, but again, you is speaking about illnesses in your family history is important. It's important to know it. Um, Also, the men in my family, talk about cancer. My father, several uncles were all prostate cancer survivors.
Mm.
So that's something I started talking to the men in my family like, look, we've got to get tested early because that's one of the most curable cancers, you know?
Right. Right.
So it just wanting to put that on the table. I know I started with the historical context of the mistrust, but also understanding, trusting your family so that you can speak honestly about what goes on in your family.
That's right.
That's what I want to put across because then you can make the best choices and decisions moving forward on how to prevent certain things or how to then go get them treated, you know?
Listen, information is key. When you're
Yeah.
armed with information and education, when you educate
Yes.
yourself on these things, then at least you
Mhm.
have the tools to fight whatever's happening, right? Then
or
be hit.
or you can make that choice right now
You
if
can make
you
that choice.
choose
Right.
not to, once you have the information, once you have the education about whatever it is, you have the right to choose, I'm not going to do anything about it. That's fine. But don't be stubborn, don't be ignorant, and ignorant in the sense of not knowing,
Right.
and try to make an informed decision based off of, oh, well, Lee said the black community distrusts the medical profession because of Tuskegee experiment. They're trying to do that again. No, that's
No.
not what I said.
It's
Just
not what I
giving you
heard either.
reference.
That's not what I heard. So
That's
I can
right.
vouch for you.
But we always have to put it in a reference of why there's such a wide mistrust, you know?
Absolutely. And there's
Yeah.
as I go along and do drives for the bone marrow registry, I find that
Mhm.
same thing where I'm being asked by people, what are you going to do with my DNA? That's my DNA. What are you going to do with it? You know? Who's it
It
going to? Where is
I'm
it
going to
housed?
I'm gonna match you up, and I'm gonna help save someone's life. That's what I'm gonna do with it,
Right.
you know?
But that's where
Yeah,
that mistrust comes from. There's a mistrust of where this thing is going, and is the government
right,
involved? I mean, I've gotten all sorts of kind of questions
right.
because there's just a general mistrust within our communities, the minority
Sure.
communities. There is,
Yep,
right, for
yep.
all sorts of
Well,
different reasons.
I mean, we're, coming out of or learning how to better handle, the COVID pandemic. We could
Yes,
say the same thing about that.
that's correct.
And anytime I've never judged anyone for a choice of whether they wanted to take a vaccine or not, right? I only ask this question: if you begin to question the medical profession, and I know your profession, Marilyn, but
Hmm.
if you want to question what medicine does, what the medical professionals do, then shouldn't you be questioning what you also put in your body with what you eat, where you eat, those things? And again, I'm not casting judgment, but you don't get to just pick and choose where you want to question, you
That's
know?
right. That's right. I
There,
mean,
if you're going to be a conspiracy theorist, you shouldn't be, but if you're gonna be, then question everything, right? Because a quarter pounder with cheese, it's tasty, but I'm not sure that's gonna help you live longer as
no,
opposed
and actually,
to
there was an experiment. There was a movie made out of McDonald's, right? About somebody who ate that every single day and what it did
30
to his body.
for 30 days, something like that, or
Yeah,
maybe longer for a year. Exactly. So again, I only want to illustrate that point that it's great to have cause for pausing and learning about what is going on, what procedure is, because no matter what, you know your body best, no matter what. But there is a point where you can question something, or you let what you heard make you question something, and it begins to get a bit out of hand, you know?
right, right.
So, yeah.
So tell me, do you know now, are the is the likelihood greater that had that happened to you now and not back then, that your sister would have been able
Mhm.
to find a match. Do you think so?
I no, actually. I was gonna say yes, right? I was gonna say yes. I think we would. I'm not so sure. I know there are more people in that match program now.
Okay.
Um, but I would like to actually look into what the percentages are and how it breaks down by race,
Right.
because I think that's still an important part. And I actually have a friend going through this, not the very same way, but he is maybe 6 months or so from having to start dialysis, and they've been getting people, in his family. They tested his sons to see if they are good matches, and they've also talked to him about the match program now, which is it's much more developed than it was
Back then.
those many years ago. I won't date myself, but
Yeah.
yeah. So still, and you're talking about, here we go, another black guy trying to find a match in another national registry.
Right. These are all these registries, and it goes right back to everything that we've talked about. It's a matter of
Hmm.
education, educating our people on how hard it is to
Yes.
for brown and black people to get these same things, these same services, these same
Hmm.
life-saving things that we need, how much more difficult it is. But we're making it difficult for ourselves because
I
we are not representing.
I was just gonna say that.
Mhm.
It's a choice that people are making against, if you want to call it the government, fine, or against the medical field, fine. You want
It's
to know
not.
how to help your people? I almost feel like grabbing my camera and really getting in there. You want to know, but you really want to know how to help your people, right? Get on a registry list, whether it's bone marrow. If you are a healthy, able-bodied person
Right.
of African American descent, of Hispanic, Latino descent, get on one of these registries because you can save a life. And I'll let you know, like I'm kind of past the point where I'm on the registry, but on my license, I'm an organ donor.
So you're an organ donor. Yeah. So the
Hmm.
registry for the bone marrow stem cell registry, the age
Hmm.
ranges from 18 to 40. And that was
Right,
lowered for previously it was up to your 60, but they found
right.
that the
It's
younger
better
the
the
donor,
young.
the better for the recipient, right? But that's
Absolutely.
not all
That's not
organs.
every.
Right.
Correct.
That's what's important. That's
Correct.
only for that. When it comes to organ donation, I'm on my
Mhm.
license too, right? Something happens to us, feel
Yes.
free. I'm not
Yes.
going to use it
It's
anymore,
that,
right?
that I won't need it at that point.
Mhm. Go
But
ahead.
that's how you can, in my bio, every time I hear my bio, I really think, man, that's me. But if you want to know one way to leave the world better than you found it, what better way than actually helping someone else's life
That's right.
who's in your community, you know?
That's right.
But there's
That's
only
right.
one way to do that. Get on, talk. Let action steps, right? Marilyn, here we go. Here's an action step. Talk to your family, talk to your cousins, talk to your aunts and uncles, find out what your family history is. Then make a choice. You know what? Okay, we've got 4 or 5 of these illnesses and diseases. I'm going to get on 2 different registries, right? I mean, that's literally how you can go about doing it.
Listen, we have to step up for ourselves,
Hmm.
right? Nobody's going to do
Hmm.
this for us.
Nope.
This is volunteer. We have to volunteer to be on these things. So
That's
if
right.
we can't find it, if our percentages are so low, it's not
Hmm.
because the government did that. It's not because this person did that. It's because we did it to ourselves. And the only
Hmm.
people that can change that around is us.
That's us.
It starts with us
100%.
and it ends with us.
We're talking about equity and equality. Well, we can help drive that equitable. So, are you kidding? Like, this personally. The people who run these programs,
Mhm.
they are constantly looking for people in our community. They anytime they find somebody, they're like, can you do you know anyone else? Like
Right.
they want us to do this. They're not
Absolutely.
fighting us
Absolutely.
against it. Yeah.
It's us.
Yeah.
Like I said, it starts with us, it ends with us. So
100%.
tell me about your coaching. Now you've gone through all these different things, and I'm sure much more than that, right? And but you're a coach
Sure.
now.
Yes.
Why did you choose to become a coach? Who is your ideal client to coach? Talk to me
Sure.
about that.
Sure. Well, it's really interesting because again, like I said, at that 44 mark, my background is television, commercial television, production, international television, and it got to a point where I still love it, but it was just a means to an end. And so the coaching turned into, wow, this is a purpose. Like I am meant to do this for the rest of my life. No doubt about it. When I went through my first training, and they give you in most trainings that take you through a program on how to coach, right? They kind of give you a script to work with just in case you get stuck with what you're trying to deliver.
Right.
I was stuck because I was trying to use the script and I wasn't being myself. And once I learned, oh, wait a minute, this is just helping someone transform. You're bringing them from one place to another just by being able to ask questions in the right sequence
Right.
and have them understand their motivation. So once I figured that out, I knew that this was meant for me. Um, Back early in 2020, I started just coaching some family members, and I've learned that I have a really good niche for communication. I've got a really great program that helps people understand how the other person communicates, right? And what kind of communication they also deliver, right? So you can start to fill in the gaps instead of having the frustration. That was
Okay.
one of the beginning uh, coaching programs that I did. I have since found that why am I going to run away from my community when I can help them? So I love coaching young black men because that's one of the ways that I know I can give back. I
Okay.
try to go from 18 to 30, but you know there are so many things that we can use as an excuse not to thrive. So many
Right.
things that we can use as well, that's stacked against me. This is against me, so why should I even bother? 100%. And if you choose that, then okay, you know what the outcome is going to be. You know where you're going to be. But if
Right.
you want to choose to go through those roadblocks or find a way around, that's what I like to help men do. Um, and even further, aside from coaching black men, Marilyn, let me tell you, um, if I can have any part in helping men heal, oh man, I see a difference in the world if men can learn to be vulnerable and heal openly without
Absolutely.
feeling less masculine and weak.
Right. Right.
Whew.
And when you change a man in that way, you change an entire family, you change generations after that.
Oh man, yes, 100%. So that's probably my overall mission
Mm,
is
that's a
to help
beautiful mission.
men and create that space, right? Um, but yeah, so I've also moved into organizational coaching, helping culture resets, if you will,
Oh, okay.
and by adding how to really have effective leadership. So that's an area that I've now opened up into for coaching as well. Um, but yeah, it's something that I know. Like once I tasted it, I just knew this was it.
This
This
is your
was the
purpose.
purpose.
Yeah. You get to a point in your life where you just don't want to live and, as you say, survive. You want to thrive, right?
Right. Right. Yep.
And you
Yep.
want to find your purpose in this world so that when you leave it, you have left it in a better way
Absolutely.
than you
100%.
found
I
it.
I
Mm,
can't see doing it any other way.
amen. So, how can people get a hold of you if they want to hire you as their coach or learn more
Sure.
about you? How can they get a hold of you?
Absolutely. So as you see on the crawl there, it's my website. It's liveallgood.com. That has all the information. You go to the page. There's a section you can fill out to get to me directly. I'll even say it here. You can reach me at Coach Lee at liveallgood.com. That's my email address. I also take text messages and phone calls. It's 202-455-6104. That's 202-455-6104. If folks have any questions, they can also search YouTube and look for Live All Good TV. They can
Yes.
see some episodes of some different type of content. There's 3 different podcasts that I do. But yeah, they can definitely catch me at liveallgood.com. Absolutely.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. Thank you so much for that. Now, Lee,
Yes.
this is a question that I ask all my guests.
Answer's
And
no. I'm kidding.
it's the name of my book. Great plug. Nice how you just slid that in there. When the answer is no, finding purpose through pain, that's my book.
So it's like
um,
I knew what you were going to ask. I'm excited.
how do you define success? How does Lee Grigsby define success?
Oh, that's a good one. Um, I think I define success for me as being better than I was in the past. So the past can be, if I want to compare myself to, I almost had to think of the year, to 2022, right? What was I doing this time, 2022?
Hmm.
Okay. What was I doing 5 years ago, 10 years ago? So I want to look at, am I, how am I impacting my immediate family? Do they hate me? No, they don't. But,
As far as
but
you know.
right, right. But don't let them tell you. Don't let them tell you. But how am I helping them succeed in their personal goals? Do we have any family goals? Right.
Right.
So I look at those things. Um, I would say personally, how am I doing with myself, with my mental health, my physical health, my emotional health? Am I doing better today than I did yesterday?
There you go.
That's really how I look at success. And I want to share the one thing, if I can, if we have some time.
Yes.
So I will go back to, again, when I was 20 some years old, which was just a few years ago. But
Sure.
the train is like, no, we don't have
I
time.
I know. So sorry, but this is unscripted, right?
Train
Whatever
was like
happens,
that.
happens. The
Yank
train's
him
like,
off, yank
whatever.
him off.
Between the dogs and the trains and everything else.
No, it's all good.
Yeah, this is real
But I
life,
would,
people. Real life.
I would, I would say back when I was in my 20s, and I experienced grief, and my grief is from a loved one, right? When I experienced that for the first time, I did not handle that in a positive way. I was on a serious self-destructive path with, drinking, drugs, all of that. Thankfully, I'm still here. And also thankfully, I did not harm anyone else. There were
Right.
people who had to witness it, but I did not harm anyone else. I have to say now, having experienced much more loss than at that point, I now understand how to lean in to different communities that I choose to be family, right? And learning again, if I'm going to tell men and create a space for men to be vulnerable and talk about how you feel, right? I've been able to do that myself, still getting better at it, but I'm not choosing the same destructive patterns that I did before.
Right.
So that is success to me, you know, being able
Absolutely.
to go through similar grief, similar depression, similar traumas, but know that you have more positive tools to ride the wave to get to the other side of it.
Absolutely. Having the tools in the toolbox to be able to navigate life's challenges, because that never stops. We will always have
Absolutely.
challenges. We're just better able to deal with them today than we were yesterday. And every day is another opportunity to do better than yesterday. So every day you can succeed.
Mic
Lee,
drop.
thank you so much for coming on my show. I truly
Yes.
appreciate it. And for everybody out there, I'll see you next time.
Hi, everybody. My name is Gabrielle Morales, and I am a recruitment coordinator for Be the Match. My journey with Be the Match actually began when I was only 9 years old. At that point, my 7-month-old baby sister was diagnosed with an extremely rare form of leukemia. Through the Be the Match registry, we were able to find a matching donor for my sister. And although a few months later we lost her, her cancer was cured. Our family is so thankful for the additional months that we had with my sister. And ever since then, I've made a promise to myself to dedicate my life to helping children just like Isabella and helping families like ours by continuing her legacy. Hence why I now work for Be the Match. I love what I do so much, and I'm able to spread awareness about the huge need for more donors on the registry, especially those of diverse backgrounds. There is currently a huge disparity within the registry for minority patients, and we need your help. It is so simple to save a life and to be put on the registry. You can visit izzy'slegacy.com or text Izzy's Legacy to the number 61474 to start the registration process to be on the Be the Match registry, to hopefully be a life-saving match for a searching patient in need.